Blog Talk Radio.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Golf Talk Live. I'm your host, Ted Odorico. Sorry about that. I had a little pop in my audio this evening, so forgive me if it blasted you in the ear. Welcome back to Golf Talk Live. This is June 5th, of course, another Thursday evening here, live on Blog Talk Radio. And just want a couple of quick things here before I bring out my first guest tonight. Of course, the panel is going to be taking a break this week, but we'll be back next week with another great round of Coach's Corner. I thought I'd give everybody a little bit of a break, and had a couple of other things I wanted to do this evening, and one of them, of course, is I'm going to do one of my segments called The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. It's something that those of you who tune in regularly have heard me do before and seem to quite enjoy, so I thought I would do that. And in just a moment here, I'm going to bring the first gentleman joining me tonight. Of course, he's been on here before, and he's a great supporter and sponsor of the program, Mr. Jonathan Laird from South Coast Golf Guide. We're going to talk about a new course review segment coming to the program. Later in the show, of course, I'm going to interview Donald Cross. He's the International Sales Director of Golf Swing Shirt, and he's going to be joining me here in a little over an hour, I guess, to talk about a great new training aid that has actually been endorsed by Padraig Harrington, certainly a very prominent golfer. You all know who he is, and we'll talk a little bit about that as well. Just remember, as I said, we're live here on blogtalkradio.com, and best way to tune into the program each and every Thursday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time is you just go to blogtalkradio.com and you type in Golf Talk Live in the search key, or you can just do the full URL, which is blogtalkradio.com/Golf Talk Live, and that'll get you there as well. And just remember, we're live from 6 to 8 p.m. Central Time. That's 7 to 9 p.m. for you East Coasters that are an hour ahead of us. If you want to speak to either myself or the guests at any point throughout the live broadcast, you can do so by calling into the program at area code 646-716-4667, or you can email me questions or comments if you want throughout the program or after the program to ted.golftalklive@gmail.com. And if you're interested in coming onto the program as a guest, if you're somebody in the golf industry, whether it be an instructor, coach, or golf guru, and you want to come on the program and share some of your knowledge and experience either on the panel or as an independent guest, you can certainly reach me at that email as well. It's ted.golftalklive@gmail.com. For those of you that want to get updates for the show on social media, you can follow me on Facebook at facebook.com/Golf Talk Live blog. Make sure you have the blog on the end. Or you can follow me on Twitter at Ted and Buck CEO. CEO, of course, is in caps. And don't forget to check out the Golf Talk Live website at www.golftalkliveblog.com. And thanks for tuning in tonight, everybody. I appreciate it. I want to bring on my first guest here, Jonathan. He's actually been on the program before, I think a couple of times actually. He's the owner and publisher, of course, of South Coast Golf Guide. It's a great publication here in the southeastern part of the United States and has a lot of great courses and so forth in here. And he's going to talk about that here in just a second. If you want more information, of course, you can visit his website at www.southcoastgolfguide.com. Or you can email Jonathan if you're interested in advertising or just talking about the guide and getting more information on how it can help your course in the area. You can reach him at jonathan@southcoastgolfguide.com. And without further hesitation, let me bring him on. Jonathan, welcome to Golf Talk Live.
Well, thanks for having me, Ted. It's good to be back. A lot has happened since we last talked. I think it was back in November, December of 13. So we're well into the 2014 and looking forward to good things happening.
Yeah, it's certainly a lot. And it's hard to believe we're already in the month of June, and I don't know where 14 is going, but it's certainly slipping by pretty quick. Next week, of course, is going to be the U.S. Open already. It seems like we just wrapped up the Masters not long ago, and we're already into the U.S. Open. So it'll be interesting to see what's going to happen in the next week. But Jonathan, I wanted to have you back on here for a couple of reasons. I wanted to remind everybody. I know you've been a big supporter of the program, and I appreciate that, and have been a sponsor along the way. But I want to give you another opportunity just to talk a little bit about the guide, what people can expect, and how they can benefit by picking up a copy of the guide, and how they can get their hot little hands on one. So we'll do that first, and we'll talk about what you and I have been talking about here over the last little while about having some of the members of the courses come on and help with the course in some of the areas. So talk about the guide for a little bit and tell everybody how they can get in touch, and we'll go from there.
Well, again, Ted, thanks. It's a South Coast Golf Guide is a comprehensive golf directory that covers courses from the Texas-Louisiana line east through the Mississippi Gulf Coast and Alabama Gulf Coast, and then northwest Florida, pretty much ending up in Tallahassee and Panama City Beach. Since we talked last, we have updated our website is now interactive. Customers, clients can download coupons, walk into the golf shop, and I know it's probably been going on different publications for a long time, but we're always the last to change over. But it's more interactive. You can, and it was hard being a print guy for 20 years. It was really, and still, it's a tough transition going from print to electronic. But it seems like it's going smoothly, finding a couple of glitches, but trying to make it easier for the younger generation who always seem to either have a tablet, cell phone, or an iPad and walking through the mall or driving, and that's scary when you see them driving with a tablet. But they're carrying that around all the time, and it's as much as us middle-aged or the baby boomers want to dig our heels in. It's the way of the future. So we decided to transition into. We're going to keep the print, but also transition into reaching a wider base of golfers throughout the Gulf Coast, throughout the United States, and obviously throughout the world. So, and you've been doing this will help us. Doing your show will help us get that word out, and we appreciate you offering us a little bit of time.
Well, it's certainly my pleasure, Jonathan. Of course, I've had the publication many times in my hot little hands, and it comes out quarterly, correct?
It comes out, actually, it's a triannual. It's January, May, and September. The current issue has Patrick Reed on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the gentleman that declared that he was the top five golfers in the world. And I have not seen him in the top 10 in any of the tournaments since he won at Doral, I think. So I thought it was a bold statement, and he's a good golfer. But when you throw that statement out, it just seems like a lot of pressure comes down on you. So we shall see. Hopefully, I wish him all the luck in the world. But it's going. I think he'll be an interesting golfer or player or an individual to watch in the future and see if he can turn it around.
Yeah, it is interesting that you make that poll. To throw a statement out like that is pretty bold. Hopefully he's going to be able to back it up at some point. But to make that statement, there's going to be some blowback. And, I guess it's better to throw yourself under the bus than have somebody else do it for you. But, yeah, we'll wait and see how that works out. But one of the great things I like about, your guide, Jonathan, is its simplicity. And I'm like you, of course. I'm, as everybody knows that tunes into the program, of course, I just turned 50 this year, and so I'm slowly creeping up there. But and I don't mind. I certainly have enjoyed the print, but like you, technology sort of drags you along, and you have to conform, or you lose a lot of the newer, younger audience that's coming out there. They want everything now, and they want it yesterday. So you have to make conform. And I'm glad that as the old saying goes, better late than never. But a lot of the magazines have had to make that transition. Print is slowly, and at some point, I'm sure eventually, it will be gone completely, but hopefully not for a good many years. But one of the things that I like about your guide is that it's very compact. It's not like your traditional 8.5, 11 big bulky magazines. That it's a very compact guide, but it's full of a lot of great golf courses throughout the region that you talked about, or the regions rather. And what I really like about it is, for somebody that, obviously I've been living in the area now about 10 years, so I'm familiar with a lot of the area, but for somebody that's maybe coming down here to vacation from other states, or maybe coming over here to the United States and wants to get their hot little hands, sure, lots of people do internet searches and things like that, but if you're coming into particularly into the Emerald Coast area here, and you want to find out what some great courses within just a few hours drive, you can pick up a copy of your guide and literally have a myriad of golf courses at your fingertips, and all the information's there, how to contact them and book tee times and things like that. So it's a great guide, and you've done a fantastic job now for what this is, your 20th year, I believe, now that you've been putting the guide?
Actually, 21st year. We started in 1993, so we've entered our 21st year. So
wow, excellent.
It's been fun. And one other thing I'll just throw out there about our area from Northwest Florida through the northern Gulf westward through Louisiana is the golf rates here are incredibly affordable, I guess is probably the word, compared to other golf destinations. And the best time to play and come to the Gulf Coast is in the fall. SEC football, college football is huge everywhere, but here it's just it's a melting pot of different SEC schools, college, and if you can, unfortunately, you can throw grenades on the golf course, or you could throw grenades on the golf course on Saturday, and it's easy to get a tee time, and there's usually really the courses get aggressive and are encourage golfers to come out, and the weather it's my favorite time of year here because it's still a little bit warm, but it's not that July, August Gulf Coast heat and humidity. So the fall is a great time to come visit, and you won't have to wait on anybody you're asked to play through it. It's an incredible time to visit our area.
Yeah, I remember back in the mid-'90s when I first came down to this area. My parents, of course, did the annual snowbird migrate from Canada, and I remember coming down here for a couple of weeks and wanted to sort of check the area out before I came here permanently. And I remember playing a lot of golf in those 2 weeks, of course, and that was one of the reasons why I just loved it. And I actually came, I think it was the last 2 weeks of October. So, as you said, the weather was perfect, and all systems were go. And the one thing I liked about it is there were so many choices within a very short drive, even from where I was staying at the time. And you can really get to, whether it be Mississippi, all of the areas that you're talking about, you can get within a day's drive. So if you're coming down and let's say you're staying here in Panama City Beach or Pensacola where you are, you can stay in that area, play some of the great courses locally there, if you're down for a week or two vacation. And if you so inclined, you can go to Louisiana, or you can go to, Mississippi or what have you, or Alabama, and play some other great courses within, a day's drive or half a day's drive in some cases. So there's a lot of options there, and that guide has everything complete. And that's why Jonathan and I have been talking for the last little while. And what we planned on doing is we want to kind of bring that guide on the airways, if you will. And what we're going to start doing here in the weeks to come is Jonathan's agreed to sort of sponsor a segment here of the South Coast Golf Guide course review, and it's something that we want to do. And it's just going to be a short segment, but it's going to have some of the representatives of some of the great courses throughout the regions coming on here, and going to be talking a little bit about some of the great facilities and what you can expect on their properties, and just to give you a little taste of what you can expect to play here in the next little while. So and help you plan vacation. It's all there, of course, in the Golf Guide, but we're going to bring it here on air and let some of these great professionals at the various courses come and talk about it. So, Jonathan, I know you've been working hard on recruiting some of them, and I know we've got a few of them coming up. And why don't you tell them who's coming? We're going to have here in a couple of weeks one of our first guests.
Well, we're going to have a former home for the Pensacola Open. It's Perdido Bay Golf Club out on Perdido Key, Florida. That is just minutes from Gulf Shores in Orange Beach, Alabama. The Redneck Riviera, as most people refer to it. But Perdido Bay and I believe Marcus Point, which is a golf course here in the metro area of Pensacola. I have plans to introduce the Mississippi Gulf Coast, which they have a golf trail called the Mississippi Golf Trail, which is easily accessible from I-10 east and west. So, I mean, we've got there's a ton of courses that we can go either east or west, and hopefully we're going to get some people on and directors of golf courses and directors of golf associations and get them on and let them talk about their golf courses, because that's their, that's how they earn a paycheck. They know their golf courses inside and out. I have my favorites, but I do want to get these guys on and let them talk about their properties and encourage people to come visit.
Well, and exactly, and that's a great point. And one of the things that I've wanted to do, here for a while is there's obviously a lot of great, anytime you're talking about playing golf, there's just so many great places to go. And as I've mentioned earlier, there's literally a myriad of golf courses here in the southeastern part of the United States. And because the weather is so conducive all year round, I mean, it is a little hotter in the summer, of course, but it doesn't stop the vacationers. I think one of the great is, of course, you got the beaches running from Panama City Beach here right through to your neck of the woods and beyond. And what I've really like about it is, families can come down here, and those that want to go and golf can venture off during the day and golf, and the others can lay out and enjoy the beach. So there's a lot of great activities to do here as well, in addition to the great golf. So that is even more reason. And just to give you an example, about a year or so ago, when I was first doing the program, I mentioned a couple of the courses in the area, and lo and behold, I was contacted by a couple of people that had been tuning in, and they actually came down, and one of them went to, of course, Sandestin, just a few minutes away from where I am, and stayed a week and played some great golf there on their 4 courses, and another one went out to up in Alabama, up around the Birmingham area, and played up in there. So lots of great golf, got some positive feedback, and all of it you can find, of course, in Jonathan's Golf Guide, South Coast Golf Guide. And, Jonathan, I think as time goes on and we make people more and more aware of this great area and all of the little diamonds in the rough, if you will, hopefully we'll keep growing this game, which is what we all want to do.
And Ted, let me say this in closing. I'm going to inhale because I'm originally from Long Island, so I'm going to inhale. And New Yorkers have a tendency to be long-winded. I'm going to say this, and then I'm going to let you move on with your show. The Audubon Golf Trail, the Robert Trent Jones Trail, Golf Trail, the Mississippi Golf Trail. We have just an abundance of opportunities and choices that the golfers, vacationers can make. Along northwest Florida, we have the Blue Angels that fly on the beach in the middle of the summer. We have the Aviation Museum, the home of the Blue Angels, the cradle of aviation. We have down toward your way in Panama City and Walton County, we have wine festivals. You can bring your wife or girlfriends or a bunch of people, and if you're not a golfer, there's usually something going on, especially in the summer and in the fall. The Songwriters Festival in Gulf Shores, Jimmy Buffett shows up at the Floribama. The Floribama is known worldwide. So it's not only golf. You can come and play golf and bring some flip-flops so you can go out at night and enjoy the nightlife as well. And then you get to Mississippi, there's casinos, there's the nightlife, there's gaming. And we have a lot to offer. We could keep you busy for at least 10 years if you visited a different location each year. So just keep an open mind, and if you would, just go to our website. Ted has mentioned that, and if you'd like a golf guide, I'll certainly send you one. Just go to the website and request one. So that's about it. I'm almost out of breath.
That's hard to believe, Jonathan.
I know.
Jonathan, I want to thank you for coming on, and let me add one more thing. I've been down here living in the Gulf Coast area now for and I still haven't seen and done it all. There's just that much to do here, and the weather, 99% of the time is absolutely perfect. And so, as Jonathan had mentioned, there's lots of things to do besides golf, but obviously this is a golf show, so we want to promote that. But Jonathan, I want to thank you for coming on Golf Talk Live, and we're going to get the new course review segment started, as I said, in the upcoming weeks, and we're going to get lots of the great directors of golf and those in charge of these different associations of golf in the area, get them on the program here, and just let you, the listeners, know from around the world some of the great courses and some of the great places to play here in the southeastern part of the United States, and particularly here along the Emerald Coast. So, Jonathan, thank you very much from South Coast Golf Guide. And again, his website is www.southcoastgolfguide.com. Make sure you go and visit that. And also, you can find South Coast Golf Guide on Facebook, so make sure you go there and throw a few likes Jonathan's way. And if you've been listening to the program and you're somebody in the golf business and you want to find out a little bit more about maybe advertising in Jonathan's magazine, you can certainly contact him at jonathan@southcoastgolfguide.com, and he'll be more than happy to help you out there. Jonathan, thank you very much for coming on the program.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Look forward to talking to you soon.
All right, not a problem. Yep. All right, we'll talk to you soon, Jonathan. Thank you very much. Have a great evening, and I'll be in touch with you soon.
Thank you.
Okay, that was obviously Mr. Jonathan Laird, owner and publisher of South Coast Golf Guide, and as I say, it's a great publication. You guys definitely need to pick a copy up when you can, especially if you're planning on a trip in this area. You want to make sure that you visit his website, and he'll get a copy out to you. Or if you're down already in the area, you can just go to a lot of the courses here locally, whether you're in Mississippi or you're here in Florida. You can go to most of your local courses there, and they'll have a copy there. And some of the larger hotels and things, condos, have them as well. But as I said, or as Jonathan indicated, you can certainly visit his website, southcoastgolfguide.com, and get your hot little hands on one that way. And as I said, make sure you go and visit Jonathan's page on Facebook, South Coast Golf Guide on Facebook, and throw a few likes, and I'm sure he'd appreciate that, and I certainly would as well. And while you're there, make sure you click on Golf Talk Live blog and throw a few likes my way as well. But I always appreciate having Jonathan on the program. As I mentioned a little bit later in the show, I'm going to have my very special guest, Donald Cross. He's the International Sales Director of the Golf Swing Shirt. He's going to be coming on here and talking a little bit about his product and some of the great success they're enjoying with that. And as I mentioned earlier, Padraig Harrington, of course, is involved as one of the people that is involved in the endorsement. So we'll talk a little bit about him as well. But as promised early in the show, I wanted to do a segment I hadn't done in a little while. And since we were giving the panel a break, I thought I would do another the good, the bad, and the ugly show. And I know that many of you that have listened to this before have written in and indicated that you really enjoy this segment, so I'm hoping you'll enjoy tonight's. The first one I'm going to start with, the good, is, and I'm going to do this for really kind of selfish reasons, but as most of you know that you've tuned into the program recently, are aware that I also do another program with a great lady, LPGA professional Cindy Miller, and that's every Tuesday morning here on blogtalkradio.com. It's called The Women of Golf. And really, let me just talk a little bit about that. That's not going to be really so much, even though that's a good thing, is not really what the category I have under the good, but you can add that in there if you want. But one of the things that I wanted to do is really help grow the game for women. There's a lot of great women professionals out there that are very hardworking and eager to expand this game, and certainly one of the hardest working women and players in the business is, of course, Cindy Miller. And she came out with a great series that in fact, it's sort of her mantra, if you will, called Own Your Game. And I'm going to talk just a little bit about that. I want to talk about it too much because I want you to go and tune into the other show. The last 3 episodes, we've been starting, actually 4 episodes, I believe. We've started her series called Own Your Game on the women of golf. So what you do to get that is you go on to blogtalkradio.com / and type in women of golf, or you can just go to their website and type in up in the search key women of golf, and it'll come up to the site there. And what you can do is scroll down through the on-demand section and listen to them. I suggest obviously you listen to them in order. It makes more sense that way. But just to give you a little bit of understanding what it is, Own Your Game is really a concept that Cindy wanted to talk about on the Women of Golf show. And I put it in the good category because I think it's very important. And really what the general idea is this. In order to own your game, first and foremost, what you need to do is you need to decide what it is that you want out of golf. In other words, where do you want to be in golf? Do you want to just be, somebody that plays occasionally? Are you interested in maybe playing through work, through corporate events? If you're somebody that travels a lot for your company and maybe you're involved in a lot of different corporate charity events, that sort of thing. Or are you somebody that maybe is aggressively pursuing a career in golf and want to be able to play a little bit more? And the reason why you need to do that as part of owning your game is once you make that decision of what sort of type of golfer you want to be or what category you sort of fit in, then that's going to dictate the commitment that you're going to give to the game. In other words, if you're somebody that just sort of plays once every blue moon, maybe you're not going to want to go out and maybe, connect with a teacher professional and take lessons. You may just want to go out there and kind of work on your own. If you're somebody that wants to improve their game and play a little bit better golf and at a little bit higher level and certainly have some enjoyment when you're playing in some of these different events and tournaments, then certainly you want to connect with either an LPGA or PGA or USGTF or some other certified teacher professional and get them to help you with some of the areas that you need work on. And obviously if you're somebody that is very serious about your golf and really wanting to take it to that next level, again, you want to connect with a top teacher professional in your area, and there's literally thousands of them. And what I would suggest you do, number one, is obviously, interview them. Consider that they're interviewing for a job, because in a sense they are. Even though you're going to them for lessons and to get help in your game, you want to make sure that the person that you're connecting with is somebody that you can relate to and somebody that you feel comfortable with. So that's something that you want to be able to do. But also there's other areas. And once you've sort of made that decision of how to own your game, then you can sort of take it to the next level. And as I said, we'll assume here that you're somebody that wants to be a little bit more aggressive in their play. You're not necessarily looking to play on the PGA Tour or the LPGA Tour or whatnot, but maybe you're somebody that wants to become a better golfer. So once you've made that decision, then you need to search out, if you don't already have one, you need to search out a teacher professional or coach in your area. And there's a lot of ways to do that and go through an interview process and get together with them. And I would strongly suggest that you don't just go to one, that you go to maybe 2 or 3 and sort of get a sense of their style and their commitment and what it is that they're sort of going to bring to the table, and take a look at their credentials as well. How long have they been teaching and where they're teaching and that sort of thing. And just to sort of give yourself an idea. And then once you've sort of gone through that process and you found somebody, you may need to make sure that you articulate what it is that you want. In other words, don't let the instructor sort of dictate to you where you're going to go in your instruction. You want to lay out a sort of plan, if you will, of what it is that you want to accomplish, make it very clear, and then sort of articulate that to the instructor, and then let them build a group of lessons or a plan, if you will, based on what your needs are going to be. You want to make sure that coach or teacher professional is obviously a good listener. So that's part of owning your game. And I think that the reason why I wanted to talk about that a little bit is I think a lot of people out there have become, and I'm going to get into it a little bit later with the other two segments, but are part of this segment. But a lot of people have, of course, become frustrated over the years playing golf. It is not an easy game. It takes a lot of commitment. Some people that just want to go out, as I said, and maybe play once in a while aren't going to be as concerned. But those that want to, play at a little bit higher level, it can be very frustrating. The number one thing that I'm going to tell you, in addition to finding yourself somebody that you can work with, is you have to be willing to put in the time to practice. I don't care what anybody tells you, what magazine you read, what manufacturer you're in love with, so to speak. The truth of the matter is, if you're not willing to put in the time and the effort, you are not going to become a better player. Certainly you have to have the tools. You have to be fitted properly with the equipment. And certainly you want to be playing with a little more modern equipment today, as there are certainly some benefits from that. But at the same token, you have to be willing to put in the time. And it's like anything in life. The more you put into it, the more you're going to get out of it. And that's really the truth. And that's really part of owning your game is making that commitment. And I know it's very difficult in these, especially these economic times. We're all out there, scrambling to make ends meet in a lot of cases. We're not all billionaires, unfortunately. But at the same time, you can adjust your schedule accordingly and make that time. And if you truly want to become a better player, that's how you do it, by owning your game, taking control of how you play and taking control of your destiny, if you will. And that's how you do that. And Cindy has put together a great series. And as I said, I strongly urge, I'm not going to get into any more of it because I want you to listen to it and listen to some of the components of it. And we're going to be continuing with that series. It is going to be a long series, so there'll be more to tune into. So make sure that you go to blogtalkradio.com/Women of Golf and tune into the Own Your Game series that Cindy has brought to the show. And her and I host that, of course, every Tuesday morning live on blogtalkradio.com at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It runs for an hour. And so you want to make sure you tune into that. That's LPGA professional Cindy Miller. And, of course, my humble self are hosting that every Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. So make sure you tune in to that. And that's what I put in the good category. And I think it's a great thing. Cindy works very hard to try and build, and help her students that she works with. And, of course, she's playing on the Legends Tour with some greats like Nancy Lopez, Carol Mann, Jane Blaylock, many, many others that have played on there and still continue to play on the Legends Tour. Many of them are former, are still actually LPGA players, played on the regular LPGA Tour for many years and are really legends to the game. And of course, that's the equivalent of the Champions Tour in the men's category. And there's some great ladies literally from all over the world that are playing on that tour. So you want to make sure you check that out and check Cindy out as well. And you can visit Cindy at cindymillergolf.com. You can check out her website and get more information on how to own your game. And tune into, of course, the Women of Golf every Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on blogtalkradio.com. I want to move on to the bad segment. And before I do that, I want to just remind everybody, of course, on Golf Talk Live here, we're live every Thursday evening at 6 p.m. Central Time right through till 8 p.m. And you can, again, follow me on blogtalkradio.com/Golf Talk Live. And that's Thursday evenings at 6 p.m. Central Time is when the show starts live. And you're welcome to call into the program anytime that you wish during that live broadcast from 6 to 8 p.m. Central. And the number, again, is area code 646-716-4667. Or you can certainly email me at ted.golftalklive@gmail.com if you have any questions or comments about the program, or if you have a topic that maybe we haven't covered yet here on the show, and I can see if I can get somebody who's an expert in that topic and get them on the show as well. Or maybe you're somebody that's working with a coach or a teaching pro somewhere around the world, and you'd like to have them on the program, and maybe they've got some great ideas and tips to share with the audience here. I'd be more than happy to have them reach out to me. So you can certainly give them that email, or you can reach out to me personally and let me know who they are, and I'll try my best to get in touch with them and have them on the program. But anyways, again, that's Thursday evenings here on blogtalkradio.com /Golf Talk Live, and that's 6 to 8 p.m. Central Time here on Golf Talk Live. Okay, under the bad category, I want to read an article that I came across in the USGTF magazine. It's actually an older edition, but it kind of caught my eye, and it kind of really epitomizes of some of the things that I've talked about here in the program about, sort of the decline in golf. And these are one of the things I think that has attributed to it. And I want to read this first in its entirety, and then I'm going to make some comments on it. And the editorial is entitled, "If I Were the Boss of Golf." And it starts off really talking about something other than golf. And it says, I love the gentleman that wrote this, or lady that wrote this. I'm not sure who the editor is. It doesn't indicate here. But it says, I love baseball. It is a great, fascinating, and strategic game. One of the best things about it is it has not changed. Sure, the gloves and protective equipment have gotten better, but the basic game is the same today as it was 100 years ago. That includes the field. No matter how many new stadiums are built, the dimensions of the field have been defined by the rules and have remained the same since the origin of major leagues. Golf, on the other hand, has constantly changed. Equipment and balls are upgraded almost daily, and they indicate that they don't object to that. After all, it is one of the few sports that everyone can play just like the professionals. How many major league fastballs are you going to face? Yet you can try to hit a 1-iron at Pebble Beach's 17th hole, just like Jack Nicklaus did. The editor's objection to golf is the constant lengthening of the playing surface. The governing bodies will, of course, have justified adding length by saying that they have to protect the game, and the holes were designed to have certain irons hit to the greens. And they go on to say basically baloney. The first person to ever design a course that way was Bobby Jones for Augusta. Up until then, courses were designed around the terrain. After all, most people have never had more than 5 to 7 clubs to play with. They go on to say that they don't believe that we can just keep making courses longer as it costs more in maintenance and takes up too much of a person's valuable time. It does not make the game fun for the average golfer. So if I were the boss, they're indicating, the first thing I would do is put a limit on the maximum yardage of an 18-hole golf course. I would select 6,600 yards as being the maximum length. And if people start shooting scores in the 50s, so what? If the strategy changes from drive in a 7-iron to going for the green, then so be it. We need more people playing golf. Making the game harder, more time-consuming, and more expensive is not the way to do it. And as they indicate here in the article, Mr. Callaway's Rule 35 is the way. Have fun. Longer courses not necessarily improve the game or make it more enjoyable. The reason why I put this in the bad category is not that I have anything, per se against the article, but I have to agree on some level. I think the industry in the last decade or so, particularly, and I'll go back prior to the recession, so maybe we'll go back a little further than the last decade, maybe 2 decades. Courses were, especially since players like Tiger and some of the other longer hitters came on, just went on this rampage. Even Augusta National has changed the length on more than one occasion to accommodate these longer hitters. And the bad part of it is, and what it's caused, in retrospect, is it's caused, and it might be great on the professional level, but for the average player out there, some behemoth courses out there that really the average player just does not have the skill or ability to play. And unfortunately, particularly in the male population, and I'm one of them, we get a little bit too cocky, if you will, and decide that we're going to play from the tips. Well, just to give you an example, there's a course, I'm not going to name the course, but there's a course here in the area. At one point, I don't think it is any longer, but at one point it was one of the longest courses here in the state of Florida, particularly here in the Northwest. And from the tips, it was exceeding over 7,800 yards. And I've played it from the tips, and let me tell you, I'm a pretty darn good golfer, but even it presented a lot of challenges, especially on some of the holes. It was just very difficult to reach into on some of the par 5s, hitting it from the unless you brought your best game. And the problem with that is this is part of the reason why there's so much slow play and why there's still so many high scores. And just to give you an example of that, as I've mentioned on the program and others have mentioned, handicaps have not changed very much, if at all, in the last many years, and part of that I blame on a number of factors. The game has become more difficult. Courses have become much more challenging over the years. I know that they're trying to make changes now to reverse that, and I think that's a good thing. And don't get me wrong, I don't disagree and say that we should not have any courses, and people might argue and say, well, let them play from a closer tee location and let the others play where they want to play, and that's true. But I think what's happened is that the industry has, for lack of better words, has manipulated the situation and having these longer courses, and they've sort of created a monster, if you will, and there's a lot of people out there that have gone out and figured, well, if I'm paying X number of dollars, I want to get the biggest bang for my buck, so I'm going to play from the championship tees. And the problem with that is their game doesn't support it. So what ultimately happens is, for the odd player, that might be fine. They just want to go and have a good time. But those that want to really have a better challenge to their game are too much challenged or over-challenged, if you will. And as a result, they get frustrated and they've dropped out of the game. And in addition to obviously lengthening the courses, a lot of the courses have added a lot more bunkers. They've made things, very undulating greens that have become very difficult for the average person to be able to putt effectively. Even some of the pros are challenged with some of these course adjustments. So at their level, if they're experiencing some greater challenges, at the high handicap and the amateur levels, that it's exacerbated even more. And so for that, I wanted to put that in the bad. Certainly, as I said, not the article. I think the article is just bringing to light what I think a lot of people in the profession know, and I think this is one of the reasons why so many people have become frustrated with the game is that it's become too difficult, and people just don't have time to be out there. And also what it's caused is on some of these longer courses, it's caused a longer time, if you will, which traditionally was sort of a 4-hour round was considered to be norm, has now ballooned to 5 to 6 hours and beyond in a lot of cases, taking that long for people to maneuver their way around. And so I think for that reason, I think that the industry, and I know it has been doing that, but it seems to be moving at a snail's pace by some standards. I think what has to happen is the industry really needs to take a good look, and the courses need to take a good look too. And maybe they need to start regulating a little bit more and saying, okay, keeping a closer eye on people's handicaps. And if you're not, say, a 10 or better, then you're not hitting from the tips. If you're, a 10 to 20, then you need to be moving up, maybe 1 or even 2. Most, some of your better, especially resort or higher end courses now offer 5 sets of tees. There's no shame in moving up 1 or 2 shots or 2 tee blocks in order to, play a more realistic length. And I think once you do that, I think your scores will start to improve, and people will have more fun and enjoy the game, and we'll get more people back out and doing that. So that's one area that I think that really needs, more attention on, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to. So if I agree with this editor, I think if I were the boss of golf, I think that I would certainly, and that's not to say that there can never be a longer course, but I think we've got plenty of them out there, and I think the newer courses need to be scaled back. I know that they're not going to do that with the equipment. It's basically tapped itself out as far as distance, and that has gone. But I think that if the courses are shortened just a little bit back to what they were, or maybe somewhere in between, I think the average player will have a better test of golf, but at the same time, a more realistic chance of playing some better golf. And I think that's what we really want, is we want to get more people out and playing. So I put that in the bad category for that reason. And I think it fits it quite well. In the last segment, this is something, and I debated on whether I wanted to talk about it, and I'm not going to get into great detail about it, because I think that it's something that you can certainly check into on the internet on your own. There's a multitude of articles, but I thought I would be remiss if I didn't include this in there, especially since it's come to light in recent days. And under the ugly category, as some of you may be aware, there's been some accusations in the media against a few individuals, but one particular in the golf industry, Phil Mickelson, is being investigated, or has been initiated an investigation and is accused of insider trading. The reason why I put this in the ugly category, and I'm going to approach this from 2 different ways. One, if it's discovered that this has happened, and also in the event, if it hasn't happened, my take on that as well. And let me just very quickly just read out a couple of points here, and just to bring everybody, for those of you that may not be aware of it, there were allegations made of insider trading against billionaire investor Carl Icahn, and also professional golfer Phil Mickelson, and sports bettor Billy Walters, appear to contain more, as according to this article, more smoke than fire, according to some legal experts. And basically what's happening is U.S. authorities are looking into whether the famous investor tipped off Mickelson and Walters on his plans regarding several companies, including Clorox Company. And basically what happened is, of course, Carl has several levels of stock in Clorox, and it's the investigation is basically underway against Mickelson and Walters on whether or not they received insider trading, very much the same as what I can't even think of her name now. Martha Stewart, excuse me. I had a brain cramp there. Martha Stewart went through a few years ago. And so here's the first way I'm going to approach this. I'm going to approach this first off on the assumption that Phil is guilty of insider trading, and I'm certainly in no way am I accusing him of that. I don't really know all the details, but it caught my eye for a multitude of reasons. I think what happens to a lot of people when you get to the level of success of a Phil Mickelson, and you have scads of money, let's say, through sponsorships and playing in your craft, sometimes temptations can come. And I don't know, as I said, I'm not here to judge Phil to say that he is or isn't. I don't know. The story will, I'm sure, unfold. But it brings to light something that I feel is a concern. If he, in fact, has been involved in this and is guilty of this, then I would certainly say shame on you, Phil. I like Phil Mickelson. Don't get me wrong. I think he's one of the best players in the world, both on and off the course. I applaud him for a lot of things that he's done off the course. He's certainly a great ambassador to the game, and I all thoughts and prayers are that he has not been involved, and there's just a lot of malarkey that's going on. But if he is, I would say, Phil, that I hope that you really give some thought to this, and if you are guilty, certainly you need to come forward and acknowledge it. I know a lot of people might say, well, geez, if I got some inside information and it got me some money and I wasn't going to get caught, maybe I might take the chance too. But the problem is that Phil is such a notable icon in the golf industry now that a lot of people look up to, much as they looked up to Tiger, for most of his career. And obviously that image has been tarnished, but for a lot of people. And I hope that this is not the truth. I hope this is not something that's going to end up being true, because I think Phil, as I said, is a good ambassador to the game. And if it ends up being accurate, I think this is going to have serious ramifications, not only financially and legally, but as he is a player, I think this is going to have serious ramifications, not only on the PGA Tour, but with a lot of the people that have supported him over the years as fans and followers and so forth. So I'm really hoping that it's not, but if it is, Phil, I hope that that you take away from this that you've been very fortunate in these last several years, that you're a blessed and talented individual. You've got a great wife in Amy, and you've got great children. You've really had a blessed life. And it befuddles me, if you will, that anybody in your stature would take a position and even take a risk. That's why I don't feel that this is true. I just think that there's some circumstances that maybe have not come to light and will unfold as time goes on. But I just hope that he hasn't, because if he has, you're certainly risking an awful lot. And for somebody that's been given a great deal, you're certainly taking a pretty big gamble. Now, on the other side of the coin, going into the assumption, which I believe and certainly am rooting for, that he isn't, then this is really the reason why I put it in the ugly category, and that is it's really, again, another point, if you will, that the media, I think, sometimes jumps on a story just because of who's in it. I know that these stories do have to be reported, but on the downside to this, if it turns out that Phil was not involved in this and of any wrongdoing and is cleared of that, the problem is that there are going to be people out there, just like in any story, once the can of worms has been opened, there are going to be certainly a lot of people that are going to be in his camp and certainly support him and will see him through whatever may come, and it may end up being a lot of smoke and mirrors. But at the same time, there are going to be people, Phil, that are certainly going to look at you in a different eye, and that's something that really I have a hard time with when it comes to the media. I know that these stories, as I said, have to be reported, but at the same time, I think that if you're going to come out with a story, you need to be darn sure that all the facts are in place, because what ultimately ends up happening with stories like this is that somebody's image or reputation becomes tarnished regardless of whether it's true or not. And, I think that the media needs to be a little bit more cautious when running these stories. And I'm not saying that they need to suppress the First Amendment, but at the same time, I think that they need to use good judgment and make sure that they have a little bit more information at hand before releasing these stories, because, as I said, Phil Mickelson is certainly a favorite among many golf fans and those within the golf industry itself, and it would certainly be a shame if people were looking at him through a different lens, if you will, just on speculation or rumors or what have you. So this is why I wanted to put it in the ugly category on the segment of the good, bad, and the ugly, because I feel that it really is going to go obviously one of two ways, and hopefully the latter, that he's not guilty of any wrongdoings. But there's a lot at risk here for Phil, and I'm sure that he wants to put this behind him as quick as possible. But I think by him coming forward, and he certainly may have done so. Like I said, I've just sort of come across this in the last day or so, and sort of whipped it together for the segment. So I haven't got all the particulars, but I'm sure that if he hasn't, he'll be coming out shortly with some statements and whatnot. But I just think that in this day and age, when there's so many opportunities out there for people to to reach their goals and dreams, as Phil has done, as I said, if he is ultimately guilty of any wrongdoing, then really all I can say is shame on you, Phil. You've certainly been, as I said, very blessed and talented, and a lot has come your way as a result of that talent. And a lot of people out there have supported you, and again, so if this ends up being that this is a true situation, then certainly it puts into question what your motive is for playing golf. Is it is money your motivator, or are you out there to play a game that you enjoy and to really entertain? Because you are in a sense an entertainer of sorts. Golf is obviously part of the entertainment business in some respects. Excuse me, at least as far as the fans are concerned. And I just hope that that this isn't the case. But on the other side of the spectrum, as I said, if it ends up being that it isn't true, then shame on the media for running the story without really having a little bit more meat, if you will. Certainly we're talking about a gentleman's career and life, and this type of thing, especially in this political climate in this day and age, is certainly going to have some negative effects, I'm sure, in the Mickelson camp. So that was the good, the bad, the ugly for tonight. And in a few moments, of course, I'm going to be joined by Donald Cross, the International Director of Sales for Golf Swing Shirt. He's going to be joining me here shortly. And but I just wanted to do a segment tonight just to take up some time, obviously, on the program, since we weren't going to run the Coach's Corner panel tonight. But as I said, we'll be back next week with a new panel and, of course, another guest on the program. And I just want to take just a moment or two here. As I said, we've got a few minutes before before my guest comes on the show. But one of the things that I want to do is I want to thank all of you I do that, of course, at the end of the show, and I will again. But I want to thank all of you around the world who have been tuning into the program faithfully since its inception last year, early last year. And I just want to appreciate all the positive feedback that I've been getting from a lot of you, both on social media and personally. I appreciate your support, and I just want to say thank you with all sincerity from the bottom of my heart. I certainly appreciate you tuning in each and every week and helping pass and spread the word around about this program. And this program to me really means a lot for a number of reasons. It gives me an opportunity to really talk about a game that I certainly have loved from a very early age. And I started playing this game when I was 7. And actually I was probably out on a range before then, but I actually started playing golf when I was about 7, and my father introduced me to the game and taught me the basics, and from there I went, and of course I've been an instructor now for a number of years. I teach privately, of course. I don't teach at a specific facility. I teach at a number of facilities that in the area and abroad. And the reason why I do this is I enjoy the flexibility and the challenges of doing what I do, and I like to be able to do it on my schedule and my timetable and have a lot more flexibility. And so I've done this for a number of years now. And when I was back up in Canada, I did a lot of different things, a lot of different corporate events, and a lot of different corporate outings and that sort of thing, and worked with many, many corporate clients. Particularly, I certainly have worked with the general public a great deal as well. The one area that I haven't worked with a lot of vigor, if you will, is, even though I'm a big proponent of it, is with the juniors. And it's something that I would certainly want to get more involved with. And I think, I didn't want to spread the basket, if you will, too thin, and by putting, all my eggs sort of scattered around. I wanted to focus on one area that I felt that I had a niche in, and just do the best that I could, and it served me well over the years. And I certainly enjoy that. I've had a lot of great corporate friends that I've made over the years as a result of this, and I teach them privately and get them ready for their events and so forth, and just to help them with their games. And one of the things that I try to do, and I posed a question here to the panel, and I've talked about this as well, but for those who may be tuning in for the first time, one of the questions that was sent in from one of the audience members that listen to the program quite regularly, submitted a question into the panel a few weeks back, and I've been asking it pretty much every week since as part of the topic. And that was, what, if anything, have you learned from teaching from your students? And one of the things that I've learned, as some of the others have indicated, is I've certainly learned to become a more patient. I've always been a fairly patient individual, but it's helped to teach me patience. Golf, as I said in the beginning of the show earlier, is certainly not an easy game. It can be very difficult and very challenging at times, but it's very rewarding at the same point. And for those of you that have played for any length of time and played in competitively at any point, certainly can understand and relate to that. And one of the things, as I said, I've learned is patience. I've learned to be a much better listener. Not that I wasn't a good listener before, although I'm sure some teachers back in public school probably disagree with me on that one. But anyways, but I've learned to become a better listener, and I think that's important as an instructor and a teacher professional. I think that you need to really be a good listener. Excuse me, pardon me. We need to listen and understand from our students what it is that they're looking for and what it is that they want to accomplish. And as I mentioned to you earlier in the first part of the Good, Bad, and the Ugly, this works very well with Cindy Miller's series, Own Your Game. And this is something that I try to do in my own way is to help people to own their game and to become better golfers, but to really understand what it is they want. And by being a good listener, helps me to understand what it is that the individual wants. It's very easy for me to say, okay, well, here's what I've learned over the years and as an instructor and as a player, and sort of instill those values and thoughts. But if it's not what that individual is looking for, then it's certainly not going to do them justice. So, I try to be a good listener. I try to be patient, as I said, and I try to learn from others. And this was, again, one of the reasons why I wanted to bring this show on air, Golf Talk Live was because there are so many great teacher professionals and coaches and golf gurus and just a lot of great people in this profession from all over the United States and around the world. And what I wanted to be able to do was I wanted to be able to bring many of those into the fold, if you will, here on Golf Talk Live, and give them an opportunity to, to be able to share their knowledge and their experience and their expertise with the listening audience as well, and also to be able to exchange the information among one another. One of the things that I've mentioned this on the program before is, while I was on some of the different social media, Facebook particularly, I've seen a lot of great conversations start up in many of the different golf groups and things, and of course on LinkedIn, which I'm also on, and of course Twitter. But one of the things is it's very impersonal at times because you're not able to really hear the tones, and you're not really able to have a great dialogue because you're too busy typing in a response. And so I wanted to be able to bring some of these great individuals that I've met through personally, but some of them I've met through the various levels of social media that are in the teaching professional or in the golf business in general, and bring them on this program and share their knowledge and expertise with you. So that's something else that I want to bring to the people that I teach and work with. And I think that as an instructor, as a coach, I think the more that we work with one another and learn and share that expertise and that knowledge, the better the game is going to be all the way around. I think that if we stick to ourselves and not really share that knowledge or that expertise, then I think it really makes for a very selfish individual, and I don't want to be that, certainly. And that's one of the things. And obviously, the other thing that it's done is it's helped me to meet a lot of great people that I might not otherwise have met, certainly not as quickly. And also I've had a lot of great authors of some great books that have been on here that are there to help your game and aspects of the game, and a few that just told a story, a golf story that was humorous or interesting, and some of those you can find on my website, golftalkliveblog.com, so you can certainly check those out and encourage you to do that. And also it's brought me a better understanding of some of the products and some of the technology out there. As I mentioned on the program, when I was down at the PGA show this past January, I got to see a lot of different products, and I know I've been critical at times on some of them. I don't want people to misunderstand what I'm saying, and I hope I clarified it. I had somebody ask a question to the panel, directed, of course, at me, when I was talking about some of the equipment, particularly the drivers. I've been a little bit critical at times. Don't misunderstand me. I think a lot of this technology is great, and I certainly am all for technology, but I think it has to be put in its proper place. And I think at times some of the manufacturers and suppliers and whatnot are purely addressing this from a marketing standpoint and not necessarily what's in the best interest of the average golfer out there. And that also has added to some of the frustration as well over the years with the average golfer out there. So to sort of sum it up, if you will, the things that I've learned from students, and I'm going to expand this to people in the business, is I've learned to not just look within myself for answers, but to also look outside and look to those. There are many people that have been in the business longer than I have and bring a lot of credibility to the program. And I've certainly acknowledged them in the past, and I'm certainly going to continue to have them on as guests, and many of them have come back on as panel guests on Coach's Corner, and I'm grateful that they're able to share some of that knowledge, not only with me, but also with all of you listening out there. And I want to thank, again, all of you for tuning into the broadcast each and every week. Now, I'm going to talk to you just a little bit before I bring him on. He's not quite here yet, but this particular product, there's a lot of products, as I said, out there in the market, and this one kind of caught my eye. It's called the Golf Swing Shirt, and it is basically it's a shirt with no sleeves. It's got the sleeves cut out, And what it does is and I'm going to let, of course, Donald talk a little bit more, but the Golf Swing Shirt is a patented and trademarked golf swing trainer that is revolutioning the way golfers learn, practice, and play golf. And that, of course, is what we all want. And we're going to talk to Donald, as I said, to get a little bit more on that. But it's kind of an interesting thing because, one of the things that I've always subscribed to is particularly the golf swing in general is it really is, there are a lot of parts and components to the golf swing, but one of the things that's very important is learning to take the club away in a one-piece takeaway, and this sort of helps to do that. And the reason why you do that is once you rotate in that fashion, as you've heard greats like David Ledbetter talk about in his career, once you've done that correctly, it helps load you up into a proper swing. And I know there's a lot of different swing methods out there, and I'm sure some people may disagree with that, but I've always sort of subscribed to that. I think it's very important that you take the arms and the shoulders and everything together in one piece. A great student of that, of course, and a former student of David Ledbetter's, of course, was Nick Faldo. And that was somebody who I always tried to sort of pattern my golf after. And certainly I played long before Nick was really big on the tour. But, I always sort of watched him because we're about the same height. He's 6'3", 6'4", and I'm 6'4", and probably give or take a few pounds about the same weight. But we're about the same build and same stature, and what I wanted to do was really sort of find a player that epitomized what it was that I want to do, and that was Nick Faldo. And this golf swing shirt, from what I gathered, and as I said, Donald will talk more about it, it sort of helps put that in perspective and helps train the body, if you will, to do that one piece takeaway. And I think once you do that, again, it's going to help load into your right side the way it needs to, and help you again when you transfer your weight back onto your left side. And as I said, I know there's a lot of different swing theories, a lot of opinions out there, but I think it is a good product. And I've seen a lot of products out there, and I know that some of them are maybe not what I would subscribe to, but I certainly was intrigued by this when it was interesting. And as I mentioned earlier, Padraig Harrington, of course, is endorsing this particular product, and there are certainly many others, professional golfers as well, that have grappled onto it. And the golf swing shirt was actually invented by a man named Ray Rapscavage, I believe is the name. I'll get clarification on that when Donald comes out. But he is also the CEO of the company. And he invented the golf swing shirt. And so when Donald comes on here, we're going to talk a little bit about that, how it was conceived, if you will, and a little bit about some of the people that are involved in it, and basically how it works, how it's going to help you with your golf game. So I'm just going to remind everybody here while I'm waiting for Donald to call into the program, just remind everybody that the broadcast is live every Thursday evening here on blogtalkradio.com, and easiest way to get to the show is whether it be on your iPhone, tablet, or your computer. You can just type in the URL www.blogtalkradio.com, and you can add the /Golf Talk Live, and that will take you there. And if you save it, then you'll have it for next time. And that's every Thursday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. Or you can just type in blogtalkradio.com, and when you get taken to the site, you can just go up into the search key and type Golf Talk Live, and that will also take you up to the home page. And if it's during the Thursday night broadcast, then what you can do is it'll automatically bring that broadcast up, and it'll be ready to listen to. But if the show has ended, then you can scroll down on that page to the on-demand section, and that will take you to all of the programs that have been previously recorded, and you can listen to them at your leisure as well. And certainly encourage you to do that. Some great episodes in there, some great Coach's Corner episodes that have been taking place since we started that in March, and some great guests that have been on, as I talked about a few minutes ago, that have come on the program and shared some of the knowledge and also some of the and products that they're involved with. and lots more great stuff out there. So make sure that you tune in every Thursday evening here on Golf Talk Live at 6 p.m. Central, and that runs right through until 8 p.m. And if you want to call in during the live broadcast and either speak with myself or my guests, you can certainly do so. I'd love to hear from you at area code 646-716-4667. That's 646-716-4667. Or you can email your questions or comments to me at ted.golftalklive@gmail.com. And if you also want to, just a quick note before, I'm going to give you a different email address if you want to submit questions. I'll certainly take them at that one, but I'm trying to keep things separate a little bit. If you want to submit questions to be read out to the Coach's Corner panel, certainly we've been getting a lot of them coming in, and if you haven't done so, I certainly encourage you. And you can submit those to questions.golftalklive@gmail.com. That's questions.golftalklive@gmail.com, and I will certainly read them out. Make sure you include your name and where you're from, and I'll certainly read that out as well. And if you have any questions for the panel or in golf in general, we'll try our best to help you with your game, and especially weekend warriors out there that are wanting to improve your golf game, here's the place to do it, because I've got a great panel every week. We mix it up, of course, just to make it interesting, and some of them enjoy themselves and want to come back, so I've had a few of them on here a few times already, and they're scheduled to come back again throughout the year. So looking forward to having that back next week. Certainly missed it this week, but nevertheless, good show anyways. And also I enjoy having people like Jonathan Laird coming on, who supports the program. And Jonathan Laird, of course, is the owner and publisher of South Coast Golf Guide. And as I've said numerous times on the program, and I'll say it again, visit his website, southcoastgolfguide.com. And if you haven't got a copy, request a copy of the guide, and Jonathan will make sure you get one out to you. Or if you're in the area in the southeast from Mississippi right over here to the other side of me in Tallahassee, anywhere along here, and most of the golf courses that are participating in the guide, or some of the major resorts and that are carrying it on hand. So you can stop in there and get yourself a copy. And it is a great guide to have, and I strongly urge you to pick yourself up one. And there's one that comes out 3 times a year. I thought it was quarterly, but it's not. It's 3 times a year. And you can get your hot little hands on one. And there's some great courses. It gives you all the information there on the course itself, and a few pictures as well, just to get an idea. And also there's a map under each area of the guide for each region, Florida, Alabama, Louisiana, Mississippi, etc., so that you can see where the courses are and get a general idea of how to get there. But it also it has the phone numbers and that to the pro shop, so you can book your tee time. And I strongly encourage anybody that's coming down to the area, particularly as Jonathan said, if you're coming down here in the fall, if you're a snowbird, pick yourself up a copy of South Coast Golf Guide, either when you get down here or order one, request one before, get the latest copy before you come down here by visiting the website at southcoastgolfguide.com. And also, if you're somebody in the golf industry or you want to maybe think about advertising, I would strongly recommend it, as Jonathan indicated on the program earlier. He's in his 21st year of producing this publication, and it is a great top quality magazine. You can get a hold of Jonathan at jonathan@southcoastgolfguide.com. That's his email address. It's jonathan@southcoastgolfguide.com. And you can get a hold of him there and just let him know that Ted from Golf Talk Live sent you his way, and I'm sure he'll be more than happy to set you up. And the other thing to remember is, if you want to get updates on the show, you can certainly do so by visiting on social media at facebook.com/Golf Talk Live blog. Make sure you put the blog on there, and that'll take you directly to the Facebook page. And I would certainly love it if you would throw like our way on that page. Had quite a few since the last time I blurted that out there, so I appreciate that. Just to show your support of the program, I would really strongly appreciate that. And you're certainly welcome to put a comment on there about the show as well if you want. The other thing is, if you're wanting to follow me on Twitter, I do update each week on the show. There's a tweet that goes out every week letting you know who's going to be on the show and so forth. And you can follow me on Twitter at Ted N. Buck, and that's TEDAND B-U-C-K, and capital CEO. So Ted and Buck, CEO, and you can follow me. So make sure you follow me on Twitter, and make sure you go on Facebook and like the page at Golf Talk Live blog on Facebook. I appreciate that as well. And if you want to connect with me personally on Facebook, if you enjoy the program and you want to connect, I'm certainly not shy. I'm always eager to connect and meet new friends. You can connect with me, and my name, of course, is Ted, and I'll spell my last name for those that are unsure. It's pronounced Odorico, and it's O-D-O-R-I-C-O. Think of Puerto Rico, take off the P. That's how it sounds. Spelled differently, of course, than Puerto Rico, but sounds very similar. And again, it's O-D-O-R-I-C-O. And first name, of course, is Ted. You can see me all over Facebook. And certainly would appreciate that if you want to connect with me as well. And for those of you that are in the teaching profession or in the golf industry in general, as I said, if you're interested in being a guest on the program, I'd certainly love to have you here. I've had some great guests in the past, and I'm going to have some great guests lined up here in the weeks to come. You can reach me at ted.golftalklive@gmail.com, so make sure you send that information. Or, pardon me, if you're a student out there and you've got a great teacher or coach or friend that's in the golf business that you think would add some great information on the program, and you want to get them on here, you can certainly email me and say, hey, this is my coach or this is my teacher, and I think he or she would be a great asset to have on the program, and I will do my best to reach out and make that happen. So you can also send me an email at ted.golftalklive@gmail.com. I appreciate that. And I see that it looks like my guest is ready to go here. So I'm going to bring him on. This is Donald Cross, the International Sales Director of the Golf Swing Shirt. Welcome him to Golf Talk Live.
Yeah, hi,
Donald,
Ted. Thanks for having me on the show.
Live.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on the show. I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing I think you're probably one of the first official Scots I've had on the program so far.
Really? So I've made history. Fantastic.
Yeah, you've made history. Donald, I've already introduced you to the listeners of the program, so they're all ready to go. And I just wanted to start things off. I thought maybe what you could do is just tell a little bit about yourself and what your involvement is with Golf Swing Shirt, and then we'll get into some questions and let you tell us about this great product.
Okay. Well, I moved to New Jersey December 2011. And I was quite determined not to get back involved with the golf industry for a variety of reasons. We moved here with my wife's job. She works for a German company. And, I mean, legally I wasn't allowed to work in America for about 4 or 5 months. And staying in the hotel every day, my wife was out working, wasn't gonna work. I had to get out, and I went down to the local driving range, and I got friendly with the head pro. I had been a pro back in the UK, in Scotland and England, and he coached me back into the industry. And then one day I came into the pro shop after having some lessons, and I saw a chrome stand, and it had about 12 golf swing shirts hanging from it. I'd never seen the golf swing shirt before. Bear in mind, this is 2 years ago, and I looked at it, and I could totally, as soon as I looked at it, I could see straight away what this golf swing trainer was designed to do. So I asked the head pro if I could put one on. I put one on, and I had a few practice swings in the pro shop. I then went out onto the range, and instantly this swing trainer caught me out. I had been a very, what I call handsy player. I'd used my hands way too much in my golf swing, which is something that I desperately wanted to change. I wanted to use my body a lot more. And this is what the golf swing shirt is designed to do. It's designed to get you to hit the ball more with the turning of your body and not your hands and arms. So instantly I fell in love with the golf swing shirt, so to speak. I wore it every other day for driving, for wedges, for long irons, and you can use it for putting as well. You can use it for every golf club, every shot in the bag. And after I've been using it, I think I've been using it maybe for 4 weeks, 6 weeks. I bumped into the owner of the company, a guy called Ray Rapcavage, otherwise known as Ray Rap. He invented the golf swing shirt. He was messing about in his back garden one day, in his yard, as you say in America, and he was thinning the ball, he was shanking it. Ray's a great guy. He's a great amateur player, probably scratched to a 1-2 handicap, and all he wanted was a reliable, repeatable swing. And he was convinced that the turning of your body would give you a reliable, repeatable swing and take your hands out the equation completely. And he and I instantly hit it off. I was from Scotland. I was, UK, Europe. He was looking to kind of expand into Europe with his company and his, new swing trainer. And ever since then, right. I've been on board, and we've traveled all over the world together. We have some amazing stories. We've sold the shirt in over 30 countries now from our website. We've been to 2 PGA shows. We've had booths, 2013 PGA show, 2014. We've been on demo days as well at the PGA show. We've had some amazing write-ups from some of the best swing coaches ever. And we have 3-time major winner Padraig Harrington and the legendary Jimmy Ballard on our staff now. So it's wow. It's an amazing swing trainer, and we do demo days. We do demo days all over America. So we can go and visit driving ranges and country clubs, and we encourage. Well, people basically see me and Ray, with the swing shirt on, hitting golf balls, and naturally, inquisitive golfers come across and say, what have you got on? What are you wearing? I can see it's a swing trainer. Yeah. Can I try it? And incredibly, 80% of people that put the swing shirt on buy it because it takes the hands out of the swing, and it gets you hitting the ball more with your core, your big muscles, which is what your modern day PGA Tour player does. They rotate their body right through the swing, and it's a lot more reliable than your hands and arms.
Right. Let me just interject here. Before I had you come on the program tonight, I was talking a little bit about it. One of the reasons why I wanted to have this on, and by all means, feel free to jump in and correct me if I'm wrong. But one of the golfers that I used to watch. I'm a golf instructor, of course, myself, and teach. Yeah. And one of the things that I've have learned over the years is that you can never learn too much. There's always something out there new to see. And I did see, actually, funny enough, I stopped by the booth this year at the PGA show, and I did see a sample of it, and it is a great product. But one of the players that I always enjoyed watching, and of course he rebuilt his swing, was Nick Faldo. And the reason why I say that, and I kind of liken the sort of mythology that you're talking about, is Nick was very much a one-piece takeaway person. He believed in, again, turning the big muscles and getting them engaged, and not the hands in that. And when I saw this at the PGA show this year, I got kind of thinking about it, and I thought, well, really, this is what this is doing. It's helping you take that one piece away, and it's taking, as you said, the hands and the wrists, even though they will engage at some point. It takes them out, especially initially, because it forces you to take, the club back in a one piece in your arms, your shoulders, that sort of thing, initiates into a one piece takeaway. And that's so important because in order to keep your body in sync, if you're engaging your hands and your wrists too early, ultimately what happens is your body gets out of sync and you lose power and of course, ultimately distance. So this was what sort of intrigued me about it. And I thought of Nick Faldo because I know when he worked with David Ledbetter, that was something that they really emphasized was a one-piece takeaway. And correct me if I'm wrong, but is that generally what they're trying to do here with the shirt?
Yeah, I think you're right, Ted. It will give you a one-piece takeaway. It will certainly get your spine moving away from the ball. You want to turn more. It'll help you turn more and not just throw your. A lot of amateur players, as well as I do, throw their hands and arms away. It'll get you turning it'll give you a one-piece takeaway. You're absolutely spot on there. And that's what we see a lot when we actually do demo days. We ask players to hit some balls before they put the shirt on, and their takeaway is all arms. They're not turning. They're not giving that one-piece takeaway. But we put the shirt on, and they'll say it feels a bit tight. It's not tight. It's restrictive, but it's restrictive enough to get you turning away. Get your left shoulder over the ball, and I've had guys almost in tears saying to us, I hit the ball incredibly well. The last 20 balls, it's not going to happen overnight. You have to persevere with it. You have to come on the range, put the shirt on, hit 20, 30 balls, and you'll most definitely see a big, big difference. It will get you using your big muscles, and you hit the nail on the head there when you mentioned Nick Faldo, because it's exactly what he did.
Yeah. Well, let me just add this, and here's why. And I said this earlier in the program, and I've said it many, many times. One of the biggest problems in today's golf is, and I don't care what product it is, including this product here, you have to be willing to put some time and effort and practice into using whatever technology is out there. There's so many great things on the market now, equipment and things, and I love a lot of the technology, but it has to be used and put in its proper context. And the problem with a lot of the golfers is everybody wants it, now immediately. They want it yesterday. And the truth of the matter is, just as you had indicated here, you're not going to slip on the golf swing shirt, make 2 or 3 swings, and miraculously have this, fantastic golf swing. It's going to take a little bit of time and some practice and getting used to it, and because essentially you're retraining your body, in making a proper turn. And what people don't understand in today's market is that the average golfer out there expects a miracle to happen overnight. It's just not going to happen. And, I like what this product does because, as you said yourself, it restricts. It's not really that it's tight. It's just restricting that area of your body so that and actually what I would do is I would say it's not really restricting. It's preparing your body to make a proper movement in order to initiate a proper golf swing. So, I should be selling these. Anyways.
I'm sure you have done already. I'm sure there's loads of people logging onto our website right now.
I'm sure. Well, and let me just say that real quick. Again, obviously, because this is an audio program, people may not be able to see what we're talking about here. So make sure that to the listeners out there, make sure you go to the website golfswingshirt.com. That's www.golfswingshirt.com, and you can see exactly what we're talking about. But make sure you keep tuning into the program because Don and I got lots more to talk about here. But
sure.
But essentially, what we want to do is people have to be realistic in their expectations, and the more that we can better prepare somebody to do things properly, the better the results they're going to have. And as I said, there's a lot of great products out there, but I think sometimes that there's a lot of things that have been talked about that it's like a magic bean. If you take this magic bean, suddenly you're going to grow 10 feet tall. Well, that's not going to happen.
No.
People still have to put in a certain amount. People have to be realistic. But what I like about this shirt is if the people are willing to use it in its proper context and take the time and effort to use it that way, they're going to see results. And ultimately, that's what's going to happen, is they're going to see the results. And that's why, as you said, sight unseen, you've had 80% of the people, once they've tried it, buy it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the men and women that try the shirt on, They hit 20, 30, 40 balls, and then, they see the results. The swing changes, and you can go on our website, and you can see the videos of the people, the players that have actually... The videos on our website are taken from demo days. So these are genuine people who we've met on demo days that have put the shirt on. We filmed them, and they bought a swing shirt. So that is all very, very positive. And I'd like to say I was very anti-swing trainer for a long time until I came across the golf swing shirt. And it's also very interesting as well. If you put someone in a golf swing shirt and put them on Flight Scope, it's interesting to see the swing and the readings you get. So if you put them on with a normal swing without the shirt, and then you put them on in a swing shirt, it's very, very interesting, the figures that the actual the software throws at you. A lot more positive. A lot of players that we come across that put the swing shirt on say they get more distance, because obviously that makes sense because they're rotating their body a lot more. They hit a much lower ball flight because they're not flipping their hands. They're rotating their body a lot more. It's a very simple way of hitting a golf ball, as opposed to the a lot of amateurs. They have a bad day at the range. They come home. They go on YouTube. They look at all this information. It's overload.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying, Ted? It's put them in the shirt, and it's just they say, okay, this feels nice, it feels tight, I feel like I'm rotating my body, and it's all good.
Yeah, and see, the thing is that as I've emphasized it so many times, is that people have to be willing to practice, regardless of what Aidan. And I'm the same as you. When I was down at the PGA show, and I'm not going to get into specifics because I don't believe in calling any specific products out or things like that. But there was a lot of things down there that and we've all seen them. And I was like you. I was really not much. I mean, I certainly believe in training aids to a point. But there's a lot of them out there that make a lot of, and it's what I was alluding to earlier. There's a lot of them that make a lot of promises. Do this, and really what it is it's a product that collects dust in your garage, and a lot of times it's just not effective, because I think really anything can be effective if you're willing to put the time and effort in.
Absolutely.
But there's a lot of them out there, and it's the same thing with the club manufacturers. I mean, they've all been promising the wind for years now, guaranteeing X number of yards and do this and do that, and it is true at the tour level, because these guys know how to put the club face on the ball correctly. But for the average high handicap player that still has difficulty with a driver, I don't care what $400 driver you put in their hand, they're not going to get 10, 20, 30 extra yards on a consistent basis if they don't know how to use the tool first. So I always say, train yourself to use it first, and then when you're able to be consistent, then you can go out and spend, if you want $400 or $300 on that driver. But first, be willing to put in that time. And, the one thing, as I said, I like about it, there's a couple things I really like about this shirt, the golf swing shirt. Number one is I like the fact that it restricts that, particularly the upper part of the body like that, in order to help you sort of groove that proper takeaway. But also it's something that you don't have to really go to the range. You can actually, slip it on at home if you've got a mirror or something, and just you can still, rotate your body as you would in a golf swing. So you don't even really need a golf club if you didn't want. You can just sort of mimic
Exactly,
it.
That's a good point.
And so you can kind of use it.
Yeah, you can use it at home.
And,
you can swing it in your bedroom,
Well, exactly, especially, for those that living up northern climates like you are in New Jersey, in the winter months and that, when you can't get out on the golf course or the driving range, and if you don't have an indoor facility nearby, you can still practice through the winter months, and that'll help you so that when you come out at the beginning of the year, you're already well ahead of the game. So there's a lot of advantages to using a product like this, and I think it's a great design. And I want to ask you, so we can move on here. I want to ask you, obviously, you'd already alluded to the fact that Padraig Harrington has endorsed it and used this product.
Yeah.
How did that sort of come about? How did Padraig get involved in it?
Okay, well, Ray has obviously been a huge admirer of Padraig Harrington. He's the ultimate professional. He's obviously won back-to-back British Opens and a PGA.
Yep.
And when Ray designed the prototype, he sent the prototype to IMG in London. IMG manage Padraig Harrington, and then IMG contacted Ray and said, "Look, Padraig doesn't really endorse swing trainers, but we'll send it to him. We'll send it to him, and all he can say is yes or no." So they did. IMG stuck to their word, and they sent Padraig the golf swing shirt. And Padraig came back straight away with a couple of 2-3 days and said he loved it. He thought it was a great idea, great concept. He loved the fact that it kept everything synchronized, so you felt like you're hitting the ball with your body, hands and arms, and your body all at once, being connected, and it sort of led on from there really. And we've had Padraig on staff now for almost 2 years.
Yeah.
And he, Padraig's he's a great guy. He's the ultimate professional. He practices a lot. He works very hard in his game. We follow him sometimes in the PGA Tour. This year we followed him. We were in Riviera in California. Also, we had a competition last year. I don't know if you're aware. We had a competition that was advertised on our website. Anyone that bought a golf swing shirt could upload a video of themselves with this golf swing shirt on, hitting balls, and they would automatically be drawn into a competition. And there was 3 winners. We did the draw at the PGA show in Orlando in January, and obviously there was 3 winners, and they played 18 holes with Padraig Harrington at Trump National in LA. It was great, unbelievable.
Yeah, I remember that now. I do remember that advertised on the booth. That's right too.
Yep. So there was two amateur players, and the third player was a PGA pro, Scott Donovan. And there was a foursome played behind me, and Paddy went out and just normal guy, played 18 holes of golf. I think he played quite well that day at Trump National in LA. So he's a great ambassador for our swing trainer, and Jimmy Ballard as well. I don't know if you saw that interview with me and Jimmy Ballard, which Ray Rapp set up. That was a very, very interesting. Jimmy Ballard, he is, he's an amazing guy when it comes to the golf swing. Very, very interesting man. Funny guy. He always says to me when I meet him that I should learn to speak English. According to him, I don't speak English very well. But yeah, he's very knowledgeable, and Ray Rapp basically said to me, look, in 3 days' time we're going down to, I think it was Fort Lauderdale. It used to be called Rolling Hills, where they filmed Caddyshack. It's now called Grand Oaks. That's where we filmed it. We're going to interview Jimmy Ballard, and we're going to talk to him about the golf swing shirt. I mean, Jimmy's an incredible guy. I mean, he coached, from 83 to 89. He won, Hal Sutton won the PGA in 1983. Curtis Strange won back-to-back US Opens. I think it was 87, 88. Sandy Lyle won the Masters 88. And Ballesteros won the British Open 89. And they were all being coached by a Ballard at that time. That's an incredible stat to throw out there. One guy coaching, four. Yeah. Yeah,
great resume.
Unbelievable. Yeah. And Jimmy's low profile. He's not really interested in the media, the Golf Channel, the golf magazines.
Right.
He just wants to do his own thing. And he told me that in an interview. I just want to do my own thing. I don't want to be in the television every other day. I just want to do my own thing and teach people golf the way I think golf should be taught. Amazing man. Yeah. Amazing man. I could listen to him all day.
Well, and I agree with that philosophy. It's nice to be recognized by your peers, of course, whether it be a good teacher, a good player. But I think there comes a point in time that, the more humble man is, in my opinion, the better man. I think sometimes, and again, I'm not trying to bash anybody in the industry, but I think there's certainly a number in the business that seem to be more in front of the camera than they're, behind teaching. They certainly are great instructors and whatnot. I'm not knocking it, but I think that sometimes, the fame sort of takes over, and then you kind of wonder, so I appreciate what Jimmy Ballard said. Donald, I want to read something off the site here that is very interesting. It sort of encapsulates the point that I was trying to make earlier here. And this is something,
sure.
There's part to it. If I can read this out here, and then we'll have some comments.
Okay.
The first part is under the section here on the golfswingshirt.com website, why it works. And Ben Hogan is, as it says here, Ben Hogan, one of the best ball strikers ever, wrote Ben Hogan's 5 Lessons, The Modern Fundamentals of Golf, which is considered to be one of the finest books on the dynamics of the golf swing. Hogan clearly highlights the importance of the arms functioning in a unified triangle. Furthermore, he stresses how important it is to keep the left arm close to your chest, which then engages your larger muscles, especially your core, which is what you alluded to earlier. This is the essence of feeling connected throughout the golf swing, and is imperative if you want to be a better golfer. So number one, obviously, Ben Hogan back in his day understood what the concept was that they're created here with the golf swing shirt. But then Hogan also went on to write, when your arms, and this is why I want to read this part here. When your arms are set right at address, it makes it immeasurably easier to get the proper function out of the arms. And then here's the key right here. With practice, they will act the same way on swing after swing with no variation, repeating the same action almost like a machine. Now, here's the thing. He emphasizes with practice, and it goes to what I said earlier in the segment. Regardless of what you have in your hand or wrapped around your body or what have you, you have to be willing to put practice time in no matter what you're doing. And Hogan understood that. And I think, as I said earlier, part of the problem with a lot of especially the high handicappers and the amateurs, is they either don't want to spend the time or don't have the time, perhaps in some cases, but they're not willing to put that effort and practice in to become a better golfer. And that doesn't mean that they have to play on the PGA or ladies on the LPGA.
Sure,
we're not suggesting that. But if they want to be a better golfer and play in their club championship and actually do well, then you have to be willing to put the practice time. And what I like about this is really what he's saying there is what your company is saying, the Golf Swing Shirt, is that the arms work in unison with the body in creating that turn and engaging the core, the big muscles. And that's really what the shirt did. Now, Hogan talked about it in layman's terms, but essentially he was really setting you up for this product.
Well, absolutely. Again, you're absolutely correct, Ted. That's what the shirt is designed to do. But again, you have to practice. You're not going to put the shirt on and this time come next Wednesday, you're going to be you're going to qualify for Web.com tour. It's not going to happen. You have to practice. You have to practice. It's like everything else in life. You have to practice. And me being a teacher, I know instantly when a guy or a woman turns up and they have, whether it's you can call it the eye of the tiger. They're very, very keen to improve, and they'll put the work in. And there's the guy that turns up and he'll complain, and it's this and it's that, it's my clubs, it's my stance, and they won't listen to me. It's a waste of time. Sometimes I feel like giving them their money back and say, you're not listening to me, you've got your own agenda. You know where I'm coming from, don't you?
Right, exactly.
So, yeah, and so it's practice. You're right. It's practice, and the golf swing shirt will get you into that groove of using your bigger muscles. Your hands are unreliable. You throw your hands at a golf ball, you're in trouble. One day you might shoot 75, the next day you'll shoot 85, and you'll go home and you'll scratch your head and you'll wonder why. It's because you're using your hands. It's interesting actually because Colin Montgomery won the seniors PGA a couple of weeks ago, yeah?
Yep.
And he's a very handy player, no doubt about it. He uses his hands an awful lot in his swing. He's a great guy. He's Scottish. I love him to bits. Mm-hmm. But it was interesting because on the 18th hole, his hands completely took over his swing, and from 160 yards in, he hit the biggest hook. I think he hit an 8-iron. It almost went in the grandstands because he used his hands.
Yep.
Because he's nervous. Your hands, when you get nervous, they're unreliable. They're shaking. If you use your body a lot more and your big muscles, it's a lot more reliable. It's a lot more repeatable to turn and turn back, and that's what the swing shirt trains you to do. Just use your big muscles.
Well, I remember before a lot of all this technology came out, when my father, was teaching me to play at a very young age. He used to actually, tie something around to keep my arms connected to my body, and he used to basically say the same thing: was, now turn your upper body and your core. In order to make that. Now, at that time we didn't, talk about, one-piece takeaway and things like that. They didn't use that sort of language at that time, but essentially that's what he was trying to instill. And for the very reason that you said is because if you don't, you tend to engage the hands too much, and a lot of times you're sort of slapping at the ball as opposed to making a turn through the ball.
Absolutely.
One downsides to that, of course, is you lose a lot of distance and, of course, consistency. Now, obviously, the hands do play a role. I mean, you have to set the hands properly at some point, but it's as a result of the body turning and the arm swing and so on and so forth. And that's why, I really like this, this product, and I certainly can't emphasize enough to the listeners that they need to go and check out the website, golfswingshirt.com, and listen to some of the video and see for yourself. You might want to get one of these and not necessarily put it in your bag, but certainly keep one around the house and take it with you when you can. It's
well, the great thing is, you can practice. You can put it on down the range when you go practice. You can use it for putting. You can use it for short game. You can use it for every club in the bag, and you can take it off and just fold it up and put it in your golf bag. When people go and practice with it, we say to them, hit 20, 30 balls, take it off and put it in your bag, and you'll certainly feel a difference. You'll feel more connected in your swing. You'll feel like you're rotating your body a lot more, as opposed to using your hands and arms so much. So yeah, it's a great, as you say, Ted, it's a great swing trainer. And if any of your listeners are at the US Open in Pinehurst, we're down there next week. We'll be hanging about the range. We've got some players that aren't affiliated with the company that use the swing shirt just for practicing. Some use it for putting. Some use it for wedges. Some use it for driving. We'll go down and meet them, say hi to them. And if any of your listeners want to meet us, they can email us or contact us via the website, and we'll be glad to meet them and discuss the shirt.
Well, let me just do this. We're getting. It's hard to believe that time's just flying by, but we're getting down to the last little bit here. So I want to give you an opportunity just to, first off, for the listeners that are interested, where can they get their hot hands on Golf Swing Shirt? Obviously, I know through your website. Is there anywhere else they can get it, or is it strictly through the website?
Well, I think the quickest way of doing it is through the website, golfswingshirt.com. The shirt comes in 8 sizes. There's a sizing scale on the website. Your sizing would be down to your actual weight. So it's important you look at the sizing scale on the website. And it comes in 3 colors, orange, white, and black. So if you don't want a bright orange, then I suggest you go for black or white. Some people like orange, some people don't. But yeah,
Right.
Just go on the website and have a look around. No pressure. As I said, just go on the website, have a look. golfswingshirt.com.
Yeah, that's fantastic, and obviously you can see some great videos on there as well. That some endorsements, and you can see, of course, Padraig smiling brightly there on the front page and that. So I strongly encourage everyone. And of course, you said you're going to be at Pinehurst next week for the U.S. Open.
Sure.
So anybody that's going to be going to the U.S. Open, they can certainly check you guys out there as well. And Donald, we'll spend the last moment or two, because I know you had mentioned it. You want to talk a minute or two about the Ryder Cup. What are your predictions for the Ryder Cup this year?
Well, I'm obviously going to be biased and say that I hope Europe win, but I think the Americans are with looking at the qualifying points. The Americans are putting together a strong team. There's no doubt about that, and I think it'll be interesting to see over the coming months who's going to win the next. 3 majors. Obviously, we have the U.S. Open, the British Open, and the PGA. Bubba Watson's obviously won the Masters, but that's going to be interesting as well to see who wins those. Obviously, the Ryder Cup's going to be in Scotland, Glen Eagles Centenary Course. Jack Nicklaus designed it. I think they'll probably play at about 7,300 yards. Some of the holes are tight. Some of them you can go for the par 4s, par 5s. It's going to be interesting. I mean, the Americans are going to want, they're going to want to win it. Tom Watson I've met twice. I met him as a kid. The year Seve won the British Open at St Andrews. I think it was 1987, or was it 84? I can't remember. And I met him last year at the PGA up in Pittsford, up in New York. And he's a guy that he's going to stir them up. He's going to get them organized. He's going to want them so hungry. So I think it's very difficult to predict a Ryder Cup. I don't think, it's a guess. It's a guess. If someone says America's, it's a guess. But, I think if Europe do win it, they're going to have to be really, really on form. There's new faces in both teams. They're going to have rookies in both teams. As a Scotsman, Stephen Gallagher looks like he's going to get in. He's from just outside, I think it's Edinburgh. Stephen's from Bathgate. I don't know if Stephen's playing the U.S. Open. I think he might have got into the U.S. Open. Stephen Gallagher, I'm not sure. But yeah, it's going to be close, I think. But all I'll say is the Americans are putting together, a strong team. And we'll just see what happens. But the Ryder Cup's an amazing, amazing event. And it's back home.
It's one of my favorite, favorite really events, and not just because it's the teams, but because it is a team event. Certainly, there's opportunities for individuals that are going to stand out, not necessarily of their own doing, but just because they've played exceptional golf that particular week. But what I enjoy about it is the fact that there's kind of a balance of so you've got some rookies and you've got some more seasoned players, and I think really they both, if the combination is right, can be literally unbeatable. And the reason why I say that is, I think, a lot of people say, well, why don't you just get all sort of seasoned players on there? But the problem with that is some of your younger players may not have the experience as some of the more seasoned veterans do, but they've got a little more fire in their belly too sometimes, so they can be a little more aggressive, and they've got just a little more juice, if you will, where sometimes, some of the more seasoned veterans, they're good there to offer stability and to sort of come in the clutch when needed. So it's kind of a balance. But it's going to be interesting, and of course, I'm going to be rooting for good USA. I have to do that.
Of course you are. Of course you are. Ted. Of course you are.
I got to do that. Suddenly, I might lose a lot of listeners. So
listen. I think the way the rankings and the way the points, the way the whole system designed is perfect. if you play well and you accumulate the points, you get in the Ryder Cup team. I mean, there's young guys out there. Jordan Spieth has said, I want to play in the Ryder Cup team. I want to play in it. So he, fair play to the guy. If, they work hard. If I was on the PGA Tour, if I was the European Tour, I want to play in the European Tour for, getting the Ryder Cup. It's a big, big thing, and I think it's well organised. It's back at in the home of golf in Scotland. So, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the US Open, the British Open, and the PGA, and it's going to be a great year for golf again. So it's good.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Well, Donald, I want to thank you for stopping by Golf Talk Live. I appreciate you coming on as my guest this evening. And let me just remind everybody, that if you want to get, as I say, your hot little hands on one of the Golf Swing shirts, you can do so by visiting the website at www.golfswingshirt.com, and you can purchase one right through the website. But certainly make sure that you read through the site and get yourself familiarized. And remember, the number one thing, no matter what you have in your hands, you got to get out there and work at it and practice, and I promise you'll see results. So, Donald, thank you for coming on. Donald Cross, the International Sales Director of the Golf Swing Shirt, thank you for coming on and sharing a little bit about a great product and your thoughts on the Ryder Cup. Appreciate you sharing your input with my audience.
Okay, Ted, thanks very much for having me on the show, and I'll speak to you soon, yeah?
All right, will do. Thank you very much, and have a great evening, and have a great week next week at the U.S. Open.
Good night. Thanks so much, Ted.
All right, take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, that was, again, my special guest this evening. It was joined by Donald Cross. He's the International Sales Director of Golf Swing Shirt, and what a great guy. I think that was my first Scotsman on the program, so I feel like I'm officially lumped into the official Golf Hall of Fame, if you will. What a great guest to have on the program, and truly what a great product. And I don't, I'm as Donald indicated himself, I'm certainly not one, a big proponent of a lot of golf swing aids out there, but this is certainly one that I would be more than happy to put my stamp of approval on. I think it's a great product, and I strongly encourage the listeners to go out and check it out on the website. And as Donald indicated, if you're going to be going to Pinehurst next week to watch some of the U.S. Open action, Donald and his group are going to be down there, and you get a chance to check them out and see for yourself exactly what all the buzz is about. And but in the meantime, you can certainly visit the website again at golfswingshirt.com. And once you've perused the website for a little while and you feel so inclined, just click on buy and get yourself one and get out there and start working on this game. And I promise you, you will not regret it. What a great product! Thanks, Donald, for coming on and sharing that with us. I want to thank again, as I did earlier in the program, I want to thank all of the listeners. Take this opportunity to thank you all worldwide for faithfully tuning into Golf Talk Live each and every week. I had the pleasure and enjoyment of having a number of highly talented coaches and teaching professionals, authors, and entrepreneurs stop by the program from time to time, and it's through their participation and of course, guest appearances that have helped make Golf Talk Live a first-class show. And I want to give a special thanks, of course, again to Jonathan Laird of South Coast Golf Guide, one of the sponsors and supporters of this program. Make sure that you visit his website at www.southcoastgolfguide.com if you want to get a copy of the guide. And if you want to get more information on advertising in the guide, you can do so by contacting Jonathan at southcoastgolfguide.com, and make sure that you go to Facebook and type in South Coast Golf Guide and throw a few likes Jonathan's way on his Facebook page. I'm sure that he would greatly appreciate it. Jonathan, thanks for stopping by, and my lovely assistant is reminding me that we're doing the final countdown for the show here, so I only have a moment left. Also, again, I want to thank Donald Cross, International Sales Director of Golf Swing Shirt, for stopping by and talking about a great product. And again, the website is www.golfswingshirt.com. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in and putting up with me for another Thursday night here on blogtalkradio.com. Remember, at 6 p.m. every Thursday Central Standard Time. You can tune into the program right here on blogtalkradio.com/Golf Talk Live every Thursday night at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time until 8 p.m. And don't forget, for those ladies out there that want a little bit of their own golf forum, you can tune in to my other program, Women of Golf, every Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Time at blogtalkradio.com/Women of Golf. And, of course, I'm joined by, again, one of the hardest working women in the golf industry today, LPGA professional Cindy Miller. And we're going to be continuing that great series, Own Your Game. So make sure that you tune in next Tuesday. But make sure you go back and check out through some of the on-demand archived episodes starting that series so that you can bring yourself up to speed before you listen next week. So that'll give you something to do on the weekend. Have a great weekend, everybody, and I will see you back here next Thursday at 6 p.m. Central Time right here on Golf Talk Live. God bless everybody and have a great weekend. I will see you here next week.